There's a kind of silence that enters the body after 60. It's not the silence of peace or solitude. It's quieter than that. It's the silence of muscles that haven't been called on in days. The silence of legs that once climbed stairs without thinking, now pausing at the bottom. The silence of arms that once lifted children, groceries, and dreams, now resting more than they reach. And it happens slowly, not with a fall or a diagnosis, but with habits so familiar, they go unnoticed. The soft chair we sink into for hours, the short walks between the kitchen and the bedroom, the days when movement is reduced to what is strictly necessary. It feels harmless, but it isn't. What most people don't realize is that strength after 60 doesn't disappear. It is taken, quietly, stolen by routines we've accepted as normal. But here's the truth. You can get it back, not by force, not by lifting heavy weights or making sudden changes, but by choosing every day small actions that remind your body it is still needed, that your legs are still yours, that your hands still carry purpose, that your spine still knows how to support you, if only you invite it. Dr. Shigeki Hinohara, who lived to be 105, once said, "You stay young by choosing lightness, in movement, in meals, and in thoughts." He didn't mean we should pretend aging isn't real. He meant we should adapt with grace. That strength, after 60, is not about power. It's about adaptability, about teaching the body how to respond again, with balance, with coordination, with calm. It's about not giving up on your own weight, or your own will. Dr. Peter Attia, another voice of reason in modern health, says it clearly. We don't age chronologically, we age functionally. That means your independence, your ability to walk, to stand, to carry yourself, doesn't depend on your birth year. It depends on what you do with your body today, and tomorrow, and the next day. Because function is built in daily motion, not on the pages of a calendar. In this video, I want to share something that may change how you see your strength. Not a miracle, not a secret cure. Just 30 simple, realistic, evidence-based tips. Tips that are gentle enough for aging joints, smart enough to support real biology, and most of all, grounded in the truth that every step you take from here on can protect your muscle, prevent a fall, and preserve your confidence. Because you deserve to trust your own body again. You deserve to rise without fear, to reach without trembling, to walk without pain. And if there's one message to take with you, it is this. It's possible. It's still possible. It often begins with a simple choice, using the armrest when getting out of a chair. Not out of laziness, but because it's easier, safer, more stable. Then one day, without noticing, the body stops doing what it used to. The legs stop pushing with force. The back no longer supports the rise. The arms, once strong, rely on momentum rather than muscle. These aren't dramatic changes. They come quietly. They come from comfort. After 60, many spend over 70% of the day seated, in the same armchair, in the same position, in the same silence. But the body, like the earth, needs to be moved. Left untouched, the soil hardens. The muscles follow the same law. They need gentle disruption. They need to be called upon, not once a week, but daily, regularly. In moments so small they almost feel like nothing. Yet these moments shape everything. Consider the way we walk. In youth, movement meant exploration. But now, walking is often confined to the space between the bed and the bathroom. Between the living room and the kitchen, short steps, predictable turns, no elevation, no challenge. The result? Muscles forget how to stabilize. Balance begins to wobble. And fear replaces confidence. Not because age takes strength, but because routine removes the need for it. Yet the science is clear. Just standing upright without assistance for 30 seconds 3 times a day activates the hormones responsible for preserving muscle. Not intense exercise, just standing. And even that small act, done regularly, communicates to your body. Stay alert, stay ready, I still need you. Over time, this single message becomes a habit of strength. After meals, there's a quiet opportunity. Instead of sitting back, try rising without using your hands. Just 5 times. No rush, no force, just intention. This is not exercise. This is communication between you and your legs. It's a simple reminder. I remember what you can do. Think of your legs as savings accounts. Every time you rise on your own, you make a deposit. Every time you lean on furniture, push with your arms, or avoid the movement entirely, you make a withdrawal. For some, the account runs low without warning. For others, it stays abundant well into their 90s. The difference is not fate, it is consistency. And so, the next time you find yourself resting longer than usual, ask gently, not with guilt, but with curiosity. When did I last ask my body to carry me? The answer might be a call to move. Not far, not fast, just with presence. Because in those quiet repetitions, strength is not lost. It is remembered. Strength is not just built in the muscles. It's woven in the quiet work your body does after each bite you take. Most people believe that if they eat enough protein, their strength will return. But food is more than just fuel. It's communication. Every ingredient on your plate sends a message, not just to your stomach, but to your cells, your muscles, your brain. What many don't know is that protein doesn't work alone. It needs allies. Just like a seed needs sunlight and soil, muscle needs more than meat. It needs the nutrients that help the body use that protein well. It needs combinations, partnerships, synergy. In traditional kitchens, these combinations were often instinctive. Eggs with greens, lentils with warm spices, yogurt with seeds. Meals that weren't designed in labs, but formed through generations of listening to the body. Take egg yolks and spinach. One gives choline, the other nitrates. Together, they help muscles receive the right signals from the brain. Or lentils and turmeric, where plant protein meets inflammation-fighting power. Or a bowl of Greek yogurt with chia seeds, where protein, calcium, and fiber meet in one simple, healing spoonful. These are not exotic meals. They are practical, beautiful acts of nourishment. Modern research confirms what tradition already knew. Older adults who regularly combined foods with complementary nutrients had stronger grips, better walking speed, more resilience. Not because they ate more, but because they ate better. With thought, with pairing, with purpose. At every meal, there's a quiet choice to be made. Not just quantity, but quality. Not just nutrients, but relationships between those nutrients. A plate can be simple and still be powerful, if it holds the right combinations. And that's the hidden truth behind strong aging. It isn't about filling the body. It's about feeding it with wisdom. About remembering that strength doesn't only come from lifting, but from digesting, from absorbing, from giving your cells the signals they need to repair, to protect, to rebuild. A strong body isn't built in the gym, it's built in the kitchen. Bite by strategic bite, chew by thoughtful chew, in the quiet of a morning breakfast, in the warmth of a homemade lunch. That's where strength begins. Strength is not only what you can lift, it's how quickly your body responds when you start to fall. It's how your foot finds the ground in the dark. It's how your hands catch the edge of a table when balance slips for just a moment. And behind all of that, behind every step, every grip, every steady movement, is a quiet conversation between your brain and your muscles. As we age, this conversation becomes muffled. Not because we've done something wrong, but because we've stopped giving the body opportunities to listen and respond. The signals fade, like an old radio drifting out of tune. The muscles wait for instructions, but the instructions come less often, and then one day they stop altogether. Yet the brain is not a machine that breaks. It is a garden that responds to care. It can be awakened, gently, daily, through simple acts that reconnect the nervous system with the body it once guided so easily. Some of the most powerful movements are the smallest. Pressing your toes into the floor for 10 seconds when you get out of bed. Standing on one leg while brushing your teeth. Walking with your eyes closed for half a minute safely, along a wall or soft surface. These aren't workouts. They're reminders. They say to your body, stay sharp, stay aware, stay connected. Neuroscience has shown that when older adults engage in small coordination and stability drills, their risk of falling drops dramatically, not just because their muscles get stronger, but because their reflexes return. Their balance becomes confident again. Their feet remember the rhythm of walking without fear. But these movements don't need to be scheduled. They can live inside the life you already have, while the kettle boils, while your tea steeps, while you dry the last plate in the sink. These are the windows where healing fits, Without noise, without stress, without feeling like you're training. Because you're not. You're remembering. Your muscles are still there, waiting, listening, but they need clarity. They need the brain to speak up again, to send the small sparks that say, you still belong to me. I still know what to do. And so, strength becomes not a matter of lifting heavy weights, but of keeping that spark alive. A spark that tells your body, stay here, be ready, you're still needed. That is the quiet power of neuromuscular care, and it may be one of the most important forms of strength we have. Sometimes the heaviest weight we carry isn't in our hands or on our backs. It's in the quiet sentence we repeat without realizing, that's not for me anymore. It sneaks in slowly, hidden inside small moments. When we say, I'm too old for that. When we laugh it off, those days are gone. When we stop reaching not because we can't, but because we no longer believe it's worth trying. This mindset doesn't arrive with age. It arrives with the way the world talks to us about aging, with how often strength is painted as something young, how movement is seen as a memory, not a possibility. But belief is powerful. It shapes posture. It affects breath. It determines whether we sit back down or try one more time. And yet quietly, in studies across the world, something remarkable has been proven again and again. Older adults are still capable of gaining strength, not in theory, in practice, with adaptations, with care, with consistency. Muscle does not close the door at 70. The nervous system does not shut down at 80. The body is still listening. Small acts of self-measurement can open the door, not to compete with anyone, but to witness your own journey. How many seconds can you balance today compared to last week? How many times can you rise from your chair this month compared to last? It's not about perfection. It's about presence, about being in the story of your own body, even as that story changes. Mirrors, too, can become allies, not for judgment, but for confidence. To see the way your spine holds, the way your chest lifts when you stand tall, and language matters. We don't always need more effort. Sometimes we just need a better name. Leg protectors, balance builders, independence drills, words that don't punish or pressure, words that restore dignity to motion. In Okinawa, where many live long and strong, there was a woman, 74 years old, who had nearly given up on her independence. But she began a short daily routine, 7 minutes, nothing extreme. And after 90 days, she no longer needed help rising from the floor. She walked to the market again. She moved with grace, not because she forced her body, but because she changed her mind. That's where strength begins, not in the legs, not in the arms, but in the sentence we tell ourselves before we move. If the sentence is, I can't, the body listens. But if the sentence is, maybe I can, just a little more today, the body leans forward. It tries. It responds. And in that moment, strength is no longer a memory. It's a beginning. There comes a moment, often quiet and unspoken, when a person looks down at their own hands or legs and wonders, when did I stop trusting you? It's not a dramatic moment. It doesn't come with a bang. It arrives slowly. After the third time you hesitated before getting up from a chair, after realizing that carrying groceries now requires 2 trips instead of 1, after noticing that the body, once responsive like a familiar tool, has become more distant, like an old piano that plays the wrong note. But here's what no one tells you. Strength isn't gone. It's waiting. Under the surface, beneath the habits that made life easier but not better, beneath the long afternoons in the armchair, the short walks between the same 4 walls, the quiet acceptance of stiffness and slowness. Strength doesn't retire. It rests. And with care, it wakes. One of the wisest voices of the last century, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, knew this deeply. He didn't speak of aging as loss. He spoke of movement as a form of meaning. Don't chase youth, he said. Chase usefulness. What he meant wasn't work or busyness. He meant presence. The ability to do the small things that make a person feel human. To tie your own shoes. To peel a fruit. To reach for a glass high on the shelf. These are not luxuries. They are acts of independence. Acts of life. This is the kind of strength that deserves attention. Not the strength of lifting heavy objects, but the strength of lifting yourself, of rising, of carrying your own body through the day with dignity. And that kind of strength is not inherited. It is built. Slowly, yes, but also reliably, through decisions that seem almost invisible. It starts in the routines we accept, the ones that tell us to stay still, to rest more, to move less. At first it feels kind. Rest is comforting. But over time, that same comfort begins to whisper something dangerous. That you don't need to move anymore. That the chair is safer. That the floor is too far down. And so we adapt, not to growth, but to shrinking. Then there is the way we eat. Not just what, but how we think about food. Many believe protein is enough. That strength will return if we just consume more. But the body isn't a machine. It's a garden. It needs balance, partnerships, rhythm. It needs the right nutrients to arrive together to support each other. A spoonful of yogurt paired with seeds, lentils warmed with turmeric, greens folded gently into eggs. These combinations matter more than their size. Because they speak the language of the body. They remind it how to rebuild, repair, protect. Not in loud, flashy ways, but quietly, during the night, during the afternoon nap, during the stillness that follows a full plate. Movement returns too, not with exercise, but with reminders. The body forgets how to stand well, how to balance, how to catch itself, because no one asks it to anymore. But even small requests rekindle those reflexes. Pressing the toes into the ground, standing on one foot while brushing your teeth, closing your eyes for a few seconds and walking slowly, thoughtfully. These are not childish games. They are messages. They say, stay awake, stay ready, stay with me. And all of this would be meaningless if the mind didn't come along, if it didn't first believe that change is still possible. So many of us, without meaning to, accept a kind of quiet decline, not because we want to, but because we've been told it's inevitable. That strength belongs to youth. That past a certain age, there's no point in trying. But the science, the stories, the quiet triumphs of thousands of older adults tell us otherwise. A woman of 74, unable to stand without help, regained her independence not through surgery or medicine, but through 7 minutes of daily effort, measured not in pain, but in consistency, not in intensity, but in belief. Because that is where it begins, not in the arms, not in the knees, in the sentence we whisper to ourselves when no one is listening. Maybe I can. Maybe just today. Maybe I haven't lost it. I've only forgotten. These phrases, repeated softly, create a rhythm. And the body listens. You don't need to win back your entire strength tomorrow. You don't need to erase the years or fight against time. You need only to begin speaking to your body again. With care, with trust, with attention. You need only to give it something to respond to. A reason to stay. So when you stand at the sink, when you reach for a bowl, when you feel the slight wobble in your legs and consider sitting instead of staying up, pause. Not to blame yourself, but to recognize this moment as a threshold, a place where strength can still be built, quietly, wisely, just as you are. You don't build strength overnight, but you can wake it up before breakfast, and once awakened, it remembers the way back to you. It always does.